Hello, Benjies. Welcome to BingeWorthy, part of the Geekish Network. We binge a show to let you know if you should. I am your host, Rakai Newfoundville. Hello, Governor. And with me tonight, we have Catherine. Catherine, say hello to the people.
Hello from Memphis. Yeah.
That's right. Barbecue.
Yeah, barbecue time.
Your M's. Your
Look.
M's.
Hey, I'm trying.
We're gonna work on those M's.
We're gonna have to work on it. We're gonna get it together.
Memphis.
Also, we have the wonderful Miss Courtney Skywright. Miss Courtney, say hello to the people.
Hello, hello. I have no voice.
That's all right. We're gonna take care of you. We also have one of the OGs, Centel.
Oh, Miss Sophia, home. Good to be back. What's going on with y'all?
All right. We also have the incomparable Mr. Johnny Randolph. Randy, say hello to the people.
Happy New Year, Benjies.
All right. And last but certainly not least, the OG, triple OG, Mr. Charles Babb, one of the founders of the Geekish Network. Say hello to the people, Chuck.
What's up, everyone? What's up?
All right. Now, if you're an audience member, feel free to communicate with us. We're live on YouTube, we're live on Twitch, we're live on a whole bunch of stuff. Facebook, I don't know, you find us. We'll be doing it there. Today, we're going to let you know if you should binge watch Creature Commandos on Max, DC Studios property by James Gunn. Now, this series consists of 7 animated episodes that take place after the events of the Suicide Squad from 2021. So the second one. Um, and the first season of Peacemaker, which was in 2022, where Amanda Waller assembled a Black Ops team of monsters led by General Rick Flag Sr. to circumvent the sanctions imposed on her after the debacles with the other ensemble teams. Now, Rodney, who is the greatest technical producer in the land, he will post our cast members' ratings for the Creature Commandos. And while Rodney posts the ratings, I want to let you know that we rate the show at the beginning, and then we have a discussion during the podcast, and at the end, we'll rate it again to see if anyone had a change of heart. So, Rodney, can you show those ratings, sir? And right now, none of us knows what their rating was. All right, so let's see. We have almost a full deck, but we have 5 full meals and a binge worthy. So that's high fours. So it's actually well it's actually gonna right now it's gonna round out to a full meal. So we are somewhere around a full meal. So I'm gonna start with you, Mr. Randolph. You said binge worthy. This was top notch creme de la creme. You want to explain your rating, sir?
I will. I thought this was absolutely stellar. This is my favorite, actually, Suicide Squad project because that's really what it is. As Amanda Waller, she's up to her trick. She found a loophole in the system and she got together a motley crew of, extendables to achieve a mission. I thought, again, this is where DC shines. It's in the realm of animation. They do it much better than they do their live action properties. Ooh. And I thought it was right in that legacy and that trajectory. I had a lot of fun with this, and I could just feel like James Gunn's fingerprints all on it. He does ensemble projects great, whether that's Guardians of the Galaxy, Suicide Squad, and all that. And I thought it fell right into that. So this was super fun for me. And I'm a DC guy, so I'm not quite a stan, but I'm on the verge of it.
Let's not tell stories. You're a statement, but your sentiment is warranted. So I'm gonna jump to you, Miss Courtney, because I know your voice is not there, so that way you don't have to say a whole lot. You want to explain your full meal?
Yeah. So I did think that it was, it's classic James Gunn. But to Randy's point, and this is just me, like it was Suicide Squad, and I guess Creature Commandos, like I was expecting it to be. I didn't watch a trailer. I didn't know what I was going in for. So when it started off and it was just another iteration of Suicide Squad and an opportunity to fill in the gaps and holes for Peacemaker season 2, catch us up on like what Amanda Waller's doing now that since her daughter like outed information, and that bothered me a little bit. I was like, oh, okay, well, it's just another Suicide Squad. And I thought that there was one character that their storyline I didn't think was as clearly fleshed out as the others. Everybody else I thought had a wonderful storyline, but there's one particular character that I thought needed more, and given where the season ended, I just don't know that is something that I will get. So that really kind of left me with a different kind of feeling. So that's why it was okay. I liked it. I thought it was very well done. The acting that was fantastic, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to come back. We'll revisit that. And I don't want to put too much strain on your voice, but we'll revisit that. Centel,
Hey.
Want to discuss your full meal rating, sir?
Yeah, I thought it's good. It's definitely got James Gunn stank all over it. On the level of Harley Quinn being to me like excellence when it comes to this type of storytelling. To the Cape Crusader that just came out a few months ago, and it was kind of a bit of a miss. It falls in between it. It's not better than Harley Quinn. It's definitely better than Cape Crusader. It's probably a little bit better than Kite Man. So that's why I didn't get a binge worthy from me. I've seen better properties from DC, but it's still really good though. Like don't get twisted. It's still very good.
Okay. Chuck, you want to discuss your rating?
Yeah, on the ditto what Courtney said, first and foremost. I thought it was just another iteration of Suicide Squad. which is just an iteration of the Guardians, and he does great on ensemble cast. I was expecting more like Harley Quinn to follow Centel. I was expecting, since this is animated, it's gonna be in the tone of Harley Quinn, but Suicide Squad. And it was not quite that. It was more like a live action Suicide Squad with creatures, and the creatures you had, you could have pushed it a lot further with them. You could
Okay.
push it a lot further with them. That's when I gave the rating I gave it. It's still good, but I wanted more. I seen this from James.
Okay. Catherine.
Yeah, it's definitely has Suicide Squad elements. There were some so I'm a big Creature fan in general, as you see I'm repping Creature shirts, but there's some elements of Universal Monsters that they sprinkled in that I wish they pushed a bit further.
Mhm.
Thought that was very interesting, and I did some research because I'm like, oh, there's this whole Creature Commando comic book, and that's really fascinating. But I feel like both from what I've heard from the comics, what I've seen from this, just push that more. I did feel like it kind of ended a bit short. Like I wanted more from the ending. But outside of the nitpicks and stuff, I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the writing, enjoyed the storytelling aspect, and I liked how each chapter focused on certain characters. I would say there were some small like animation things that kind of bothered me a little bit. I think that's just whatever the budget was for this show for animation. It felt like they had a smaller frame rate, like less frames per second, which, it's TV animation, so the budget might be smaller for that. But yeah.
Okay, and I will back clean up. I agree with just about everything that you all said. There's not much more to be said. It is a James Gunn property. He is excellent at doing ensemble pieces. I knew what we were getting into before I got here, so I knew that Creature Commandos was an iteration of the Suicide Squad. I didn't know how he was going to explain it. I do like the explanation, and Courtney is exactly right. It explains how, because there is a second season of Peacemaker coming, and we saw Peacemaker, we got him because of the last Suicide Squad movie. And but since we can't do that anymore, it explains a lot in a gap right there, and I thought that was kind of nice. Um, it was just a full meal to me because even though DC absolutely excels at animation, it wasn't tip of the spear to me. Like right now, still, there's probably nothing better as far as tone, pace, character development, and just pure joy than Harley Quinn that's coming out of DC. That's probably the top of the game right there. And then some of the movies they do are great too. Uh, they've kind of backed off of those a little bit here in the near recent past, but this I thought was very solid, not outstanding, but very, very solid. And again, something that Marvel should be sitting down and taking notes and like, damn it, why can't we do that? So at any rate, even though I thought this show was solid, and it sounds like all of us thought this show was super solid, except for our resident Stan. I don't know
I
who
got it.
that could be.
I'll wear it.
Yeah,
He
he
is a
thought it was
DC guy.
excellent.
He is a DC guy, and there's nothing wrong with that.
It don't matter what it was on
there's-
screen.
Nah,
I
that's
promise.
not necessarily true.
there's nothing wrong with being wrong. He's, you know what I'm saying? It's okay. We love him anyway.
I'm a DC person too, but I'm very critical of everything.
Well, it sounds like us in Star Wars, so I get it. And now Marvel, so I get it. So, how well do you think this show balanced the plot, and what it was trying to establish? And because Amanda Waller found a loophole and created the Creature Commandos, was the world building here something new, or was it something we've seen before? Like, where did they go with character development? I know that's a lot to uh, embrace right there. But I'm gonna go to you first, Centel.
Oh, shoot. Well, I did enjoy the time that they took with the character development. I mean, every episode seems to like showcase on one particular person. So, James Gunn has a very good way of making you kind of care about the people that's going through it, and that's what you got with this. So I loved the character development. The world building is, like you all said earlier, it kind of like picks up where we left off at. So the world is already kind of like like established. So for those that have caught up or watched some of the previous stuff, you know exactly where you are. And if you didn't, I think they do a decent enough job of explaining to you like what is going down. Yeah, I think that's it that I got for that.
Okay. I'm gonna jump to our resident DC expert, Randy. What did you think, sir?
I thought the world building was strong. Courtney mentioned that she thought it was like a carryover, like a middle piece from serving from Peacemaker up to now. But I like that. I like because I feel like this is James Gunn's first project, and I feel like he is establishing where he's going to take it. I think we got some glimpse into what we're going to see in the upcoming projects. Are we going to see like who's the big bad in this? We saw glimpses of all the Justice League basically crucified. We got a glimpse of Batman in the shadows. So who's going to be our Batman going forward? So I thought it didn't establish the world, but I thought it was a chapter in world building of what we're going to see in the future.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna jump over to another one of our DC experts, and that would be Catherine.
Yeah. I guess like sorry, made a comment earlier about how if you didn't watch it, you might not fully kind of get what was happening. But I think you can watch this with fresh eyes. I've kind of forgot, like, watched too many shows right now to where I'm forgetting what happened prior. But I think the world building is strong. I like the character development. It still feels like it's like since they're restarting it. I kind of get that sense from watching the show. Like yes, it's picking up from where Peacemaker is, but there's elements where it feels like it's trying to start from scratch in a way. Like we know who some of these DC characters just throughout time, so you don't really have to do a lot of building behind them just throughout like cinema and all that stuff. But the world building is really, really strong, and I'm really interested in where they're going to take it, especially with some of the Easter eggs they've layered into each episode and characters. So yeah.
Okay. And our other DC expert, I got to hear from all the DC experts, and that would be Miss Courtney Scott Wright. Courtney, what do you think about the character development, the pacing, the world building in this particular show?
In terms of character development, I mean, there's honestly no one better than James Gunn because that's what he does. He makes you fall in love with the people on his team. That was one of the best parts of the series. Even Peacemaker, like sorry, not Peacemaker, yes, definitely. But I was gonna say the second Suicide Squad because I didn't even want to see the second Suicide Squad because I was like the first one was trash. But when when James Gunn took it over, it was like he breathed new life into it. But I will say that I would like to see him breathe new life into other properties in a way that is creating something new instead of continuing to build on to things. I do think that this plot was interesting. It wasn't necessarily a new theme, but it was new heroes to follow as well as a new team leader in a way to bring back the character of Rick Flag without bringing him back. And the only thing I thought that there was a lot of focus on the Bride of Frankenstein, who loved her. Indira Varma is one of my favorite actresses. I love her in everything she does. This woman is on the lines of Michelle Yeoh. She can do no wrong. So absolutely adored her. She destroyed it, and I was there for it. But I think because as a writer, when you fall in love with a character and they're just so good, it's a tendency that like the characters, especially one closest to them, like her sidekick, like her main number one friend, I felt like didn't get the same amount of time that needed to build who this person was throughout the entirety of the series. We saw little bits of each one of them showing nuggets of who their characters are, and then we got their actual story. So for a climax to like come to fruition and and it just kind of be. I felt let down, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my only real, and it's not even negative. It's just, it was his choice as a writer and creator. And for me as an audience member and a lover of this suicide family, I could have used a little more.
Okay. Any comments, Chuck?
Uh, Not really. I'm not as familiar with the DC universe as I am Marvel universe. Uh, but I just I thought the stories were decent. I felt as though this was an introduction to all the characters, and as they're introducing all the characters to me, I was wondering why they were introducing all the characters to me when in Suicide Squad their main goal is to die. So why would you want me to get to know all these characters when they're supposed to die? I don't want
Well,
to get to know these characters like that. I want to get to know them well enough to feel a little bit sorry for them dying, but can't wait to see who's going to replace them.
yeah. And and that's the interesting thing about this new path that we embark on, where Amanda Waller found this loophole after she got in trouble for doing what she was doing with the prisoners, in
Mm-hmm.
Suicide Squad, and then it was continued over and saw to fruition pretty much in Peacemaker. So she's not allowed to use humans anymore for to do these Suicide Squads. So she found a loophole, and look, I'll go get some monsters because they're
Mm-hmm.
technically not humans or what have you. So, is a very interesting premise. Um, and James Gunn is good about making you somewhat care about the characters because again, when you say Suicide Squad, they're named that way for a reason and they're supposed to die, but that's also we're talking about the first Suicide Squad. Really, that's the only thing they kind of threw out there. You didn't really care about any of those characters. You cared about Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn because she was magnetic. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They had one of the biggest actors in the world, Will Smith, and I still didn't really
Yeah.
care. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And Killer
And
Croc.
one of the dopest characters, and you still didn't care.
yeah, like
Killer
he
Croc
should have
guy.
been he should have been like super dope, you know what I'm saying? Or was I supposed to care about Common being a thug gangster? Like what are we
Nope.
doing? You know,
Yeah.
Nope.
and then James Gunn created a new version of the Suicide Squad, and that had the same feel with by not feeling the same at all. Um, and then Peacemaker was absolute fun and chaos, and here we got something different. I will agree with Courtney's first thought that I wish it would have been pushed further. And I
Yeah.
think part of the reason it probably wasn't because with this being his first official project out the gate, I don't know who the audience for this was
Mm-hmm.
because to push it farther and make it like Peacemaker, it's clear who Peacemaker was for. That was for the adults. That is not safe for work.
Mm-hmm.
But this was, even though it was PG-13, rated R, whatever, because it had language, it definitely had a hell of violence.
Had sex in it too.
Yeah.
It did. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, it absolutely did. And it had, and all of it was gratuitous. It was graphic. I was like, oh, is Zack Snyder in the writing room? What the hell's going on?
I feel like it's
Um,
more than Harley Quinn. It kind of to me leans more on PG-13, even though it is graphic. And just looking at Twilight of the Gods is way more graphic than all of this.
yeah,
But
Oh yeah.
and isn't
But
it
that's
weird how
porn.
they
Close.
That's
did
just
that?
porn, though, right? That's just corn. That don't count. We all.
Yeah. Yeah, but isn't it weird how they did that in this, that as much gratuitous language, violence, sex in it, it still didn't feel like it was over the line. Like, and I'm not saying like elementary kids should be watching this, but I could see, teenager watching this and be completely engrossed where I don't really see that same audience watching Peacemaker, for instance. So I don't know, maybe just because it was animated, but it felt different and it felt fun. Um, Peacemaker was fun, but it was absolute just chaos. So I don't know. I did like the uh, character development. I did like him giving glimpses of each one of the characters before, you know, some of them met their maker and some of them didn't or what have you. Um, you know, very Games of Thrones-ish, you know, and I think that's just the world we live in now, you know, and get you to care about characters a little bit and, you know, 86 them. So,
Yeah.
Courtney, you look like you got something to say.
Well, I have thought after what Chuck said in regards to like the Suicide Squad being expendable, essentially, like they're
Mm-hmm.
meant to die.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that in mind, which I completely, there's always that element hanging over. Like that's why you had Rick Flag, he had his detonator, and same in Rick Flag Jr. in the second one. Uh, there was a moment, there's a plot point where the team goes without a handler. So why did they continue the job? There was a whole section where there were people contemplating how do we get out of this? And yet here we are, sent our hero team is sent. Why did no one try to leave?
Mm-hmm.
There was that threat, that major threat that is the Suicide Squad has to complete the mission because it's life or death. And it wasn't.
But don't they have the tracker in their head where it can blow up?
Well, there was an instance in the show where a particular character tried it, and you know, and he ended up losing the battle and almost lost, you know, and he got in line after that. But you know, to Courtney's point, he lost to their handler. Then not long after that, the handler is lost. Everybody should have pieced out. The hell with this mission or whatever. We out, you know. Catch us if you can, you know.
Don't they have the things though in their head that'll
They
blow
do.
up?
So I
But
mean,
They
but
do,
it's
but
just one of those nitpicky things. Is like,
I thought it was more of like a not blow up, but more of like a brain like they were being electrocuted and less of a blow up type of detonator.
Yeah, or something to keep them in line. It's basically some sort of
yeah, blow up the brain stem, something like that.
Yeah, I think it's like the fear of Amanda Waller always watching might be, but it's poorly explained with like the handler and not doing that. But I wondered if they wanted to play into the ethos of them being creatures, and I guess I don't know, but yeah.
Well, I think probably the reason they kept moving on was because, you know, one of his great lines, Will Smith said it so perfectly in the first movie, that woman is the devil.
Yeah.
So, you
The
know,
whole
all these
Yeah.
monsters and creatures, and the scariest person is the little black lady back in the office. Like, yeah, she is absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
Not
Did you
only
all
that,
think
though,
that 7 episodes was an interesting choice? Did we need 8?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd say I'd even go as far as to say maybe even 2 more episodes.
10. I said we needed 10.
I mean, definitely 10 would have been preferred. 8, I felt was necessary. So when it ended at 7, I was like,
7 was interesting. Yeah, I thought they had another week. I was like, oh, is that it?
Yeah.
But here's what I'll say to that. I agree with all of you. I could have used 1 to 3 more episodes, but I feel like the reason they didn't, because DC's on thin ice. You know, they brought in James Gunn and Peter Safran to right the ship. The first thing out the gate is an animated property because, and you know, and it's not so much, we all know that they are killing it when it comes to animated DC projects, but at the same point, it's still DC stuff. Warner Brothers Discovery don't even have a whole lot of faith in DC as a whole at all. They sunk so much money, especially into the movies, and came up zip every time. They're like, listen, you know, we'll give you enough money to buy 3 Papa John's pizza and a 12-pack of beer. Like, see what you can do with that, you know. and if you know, if you can make people watch this,
Dang, that's messed
you
up.
know, I mean, but you know, really,
true.
I mean, is there anybody more cutthroat right now than David Zaslav? Like, he is cutting everything.
To
Yeah.
me, it's like there's less faith in animation. I don't agree that it's just because of like it's like DC's on thin ice. I do think it has more to do with it being animated and them wanting to focus more on Superman and other properties and putting more money into it. And I can
Yeah.
tell from the quality of animation of the show that they had a lower budget.
Mhm.
I could that they had more budget in the trailer for the Superman movie than they did in this whole show.
Yeah,
Well, that's
Yeah.
the thing. Everything is building up to Superman.
yeah.
If Superman tanks, it's over. It's
Yeah.
over.
You can see with the studio logo, they're shifting it to Superman. And
Yeah, I mean everything is putting on the all bets in are on
Yeah.
Superman. They're all
Yeah.
in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're all in. They push all the chips to the
Yeah,
to the
it's
center
all
of the
in.
table. Yeah, and you're
Yeah.
right, Randy. If Superman
Yeah.
tanks,
It's over.
they will sell off the entire of DC. Like Marvel gonna mess around and own DC in a minute. They keep on.
You know,
Infinity
what's
It'd be like the WWE. We just buy
Right,
our
right. It'd be
rival,
like, yeah, when the WWE
more
bought
interesting?
WCW, yeah,
Mhm.
it's over.
Yeah.
what's more interesting with this show is there's not more foreshadowing that a Superman movie was coming in the show.
Mhm.
Like they didn't do any preparation for a Superman show. I mean Superman movie in this show. Like it's relatively a standalone property.
Yeah.
They called back to Suicide Squad 2 and 1. They
Mhm.
called back to Peacemaker,
Mhm.
but they didn't call forward foreshadow for Superman at all.
Well, but that's also because we don't know how things exist. We don't know if that is an active part of, because this is TV. We don't know if that's an active part of the movie universe.
Yeah.
You know, them calling back, like they called back to the 2 Suicide Squad movies,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know if
And the
they're,
Peacemaker the show.
yeah, but I don't
Yeah.
know if they're even have any designs on this being any part of the you know, because basically they'll build up to a new Justice League and a lot of other stuff like that, because that's what it looks like. They're like, James Gunn's like, I watched intimately. I watched Kevin Feige. I know how he built up, you know, a 10-year project to make the Avengers. We can do that, and we got Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman and, well, we don't talk about the Flash, and we damn
Nightwing.
sure don't talk about Aquaman.
Flash.
So you know, so I mean,
They do got
Aquaman is Lobo, so it doesn't really
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah.
Sure. The
so were there any standout characters or standout moments in this short 7-episode series?
I think
Go ahead, Chuck.
No, go ahead, Captain. Captain was for me.
I'm getting really bad with names, but the lady creature from the Black Lagoon, I thought was
Nina.
really good.
Nina Mazursky.
Yes, Nina. Nina, I felt like was really like, I love Bride of Frankenstein and she's awesome, but
Yes.
Nina had a really heartbreaking and tragic, interesting story.
Mm-hmm.
So I really liked that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah, I wish they had done more
Yeah.
with Nina, and I am not satisfied with her arc, because she played a background character for a whole lot of it, and especially as heartbreaking as her story was, it's just like they didn't give her enough to do. It's almost like they didn't know what to do with her, so it's rather unfortunate. I would say for me, as much as I love The Bride, and I agree, Courtney, Indira Varma is magnificent. But another fantastic character actor that I can't get enough of is Alan Tudyk, and as Dr. Phosphorus, he trips me out. Like, I love almost everything that Alan Tudyk does, and as Dr. Phosphorus, he was the good comic relief in all of this. Like, you know, he brought a lot of moments of levity, even in times where he is inflicting the most violence damn near in the show. Him and the Bride, well, and Frankenstein, they went toe to toe in the violence departments. And yeah, Dr. Phosphorus is, you know, and then even watching his story was very interesting. You know, and again, one of those C-list, D-list characters I didn't know anything about. So that I found him to be really, really interesting.
Well, Alan Tudyk, is it? Did you say
Yeah.
you know a lot
Alan
about him?
Tudyk. Yep.
Yeah,
He was a
He was
Batman
Dr. Phosphorus.
Batman Beyond villain.
yeah, like
Serenity.
I mean, but yeah, he was
Yeah,
Gina
like,
He's
Gina
everything.
Torres'
he's
husband
goaded.
in
Yeah, he's goaded in
Serenity
these
and
Serenities,
Firefly.
in these
Yeah.
Firefly
He's
streets.
if you haven't
right up
seen it,
there.
He's
he's
goated.
outstanding in Resident Alien. Oh my, you know,
He's outstanding in everything he does. He's right up
Everything.
there
he
with
really
Indira Varma.
is. He
Also,
really is.
Everything.
And the one thing that I like that they did about him is, and I said Dr. Phosphorus, but the one thing that I like about him is because he's an accomplished voice actor as well. He did the voice of Clayface in Harley Quinn, so he did the voice of Clayface in this as well. And I love that kind of continuity. Like, I love that. Like,
Yeah.
he's already killing it over here. Listen, we gonna bring that character over here. Same dude.
Yeah.
Like, I like it. I wonder if he got 2 checks.
Yes,
I would
he
say
does.
so.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
You get every check per
character.
character.
He played 3
Um,
different characters, so.
Yeah, every
Yeah,
character
3
you play,
characters.
they get a check.
Yeah.
Well, that means
Weasel.
that James Gunn's brother got the most checks because he played like 4 or 5 characters.
Weasel.
Yeah,
and
Weasel's story.
G.I.
for me,
Robot.
G.I. Robot.
I
Yeah.
thought that Weasel's story was the biggest payoff because it carried
Yeah.
over from
The, second
just
Suicide Squad movie.
right,
Mhm.
and he just he carried over, and we never knew. Everybody made fun of Weasel. He killed 27 children, and then he killed 10 children. Oh wait, okay, it was just 8. But the fact that you find out that he didn't do any of those things.
Hey, spoiler.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anyway, you find
Yeah.
out like who he is and like what his story is. And I thought that was one of the best payoffs in the Suicide Squad's history.
Yeah.
One thing I did like is the outside the Weasel interactions and how he interacted with everybody, because nobody knew how to treat Weasel until he got around the wolves. Then you understood what he was longing for. And I said, that's beautiful. No words was ever explained. And you understood everything that was going on.
And that scene was so great, right?
was
Because
such
you
a great
didn't know what was about to jump off. Was he going to run? Was he going to kill them all? Well, and it was just so great the way
just spoiling.
I said the scene was great.
Yeah.
You didn't know
What
if he was
part
going to run or jump or.
I also like how they reference.
What is a spoiler about a good scene?
Go ahead. Oh.
Well,
Yeah,
the scene with the wolves is great.
The scene with
that's
the
all I
wolves was great.
said.
I think the scene in the whorehouse was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
my
really
favorite
good
scene, actually.
Yeah.
I had
Okay.
I had a speaking of that, one of my favorite voice actresses, and she doesn't really do a whole lot of voice acting, but she has one of the most unique
I know what you're gonna say
on the planet.
Oh,
anytime she speaks,
you know it's her immediately.
I love her. Yes, I always pronounce her name wrong. Shole Agladashilo. I think that's how maybe
something like that.
That gravelly growl that she got, yo. Hey, I bet she was something back in '85, boy. That voice is fire. It gets me every time. So she gets my honorable mention.
It's some of the '85.
She's an older statesman. I mean,
she is.
She's an older lady.
She just come through and tell you y'all gonna get married. You're like,
voice,
okay.
Yo. And y'all know I love a good bad guy. And David Harbour played an asshole like no other. I loved how uncomfortably embarrassing and over the top and he's a horrible person, and he knocked that all the way out the park with Frankenstein.
Yeah.
He did.
It's like they pulled completely from that Frankenstein movie with James McAvoy.
I've never seen that, so
yeah. It was like the backstory was like legit the same.
Are you talking about
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never seen that, so okay.
The one with the little monkey character?
Yeah, but just a completely demented and delusional Frankenstein, and then looking at his backstory and how he kept playing it out, or how he'd been playing it out for centuries with the bride, was just absolutely amazing. It was outstanding.
Also, like G.I. Robot was fun too. Like how
Yeah.
he just wanted to do this thing, and he in the beginning, like I'm trying not to spoil things, but
It's so satisfying. It's so satisfying. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, he was great.
Yeah.
All right. So, even though we said that it did not really allude to or look to the future, to what is coming in for on the horizon for DC Studios or what we've been privy to,
Mm-hmm.
do I think, and that's just my own opinion, that it alluded to at the end that possibly there's a season two, even though it has not been officially announced. Do we want a season two of Creature Commandos?
I do, but
I
I'm also
do.
like, you see DC characters with creatures, and the creatures they're gonna like the next hinting at is very interesting. I do hope if they do a season two, they pull more into like a unique element where it is like very creature focused. Because the comics are also kind of a lot like Suicide Squad in a way, uh,
Mm-hmm.
but I think they can just dive more into like the go full creature. If you're gonna go creatures, go all the way. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
have fun with
Mm-hmm.
it. So that's it.
Yeah.
Anybody
What
else?
ab-
I think I like the
what
fact that
about
this was a series instead of a movie.
Yeah.
Um, because it gave us a little bit more time to spend with these characters and see, especially like some of the backstory. If you put this in a movie, you could have spent but a couple minutes on each one of the characters,
yeah.
and you'd have had to run through a lot of stuff too quickly to bake all that into a 2 hour movie, or whatever they're making 3 hour movies these days. I don't understand. This couldn't have been over a 2 hour movie, but um, I like the
What
fact that it was a series. I could go for a season two. The way it ended, I could go for a season two. I would just. I'm not saying like Marvel Agents of Shield type, but I would like for it to speak more to the DC universe, whatever that's going to be, the DC Studios as a whole. Like to throw some shots out there, some Easter eggs where something happens in a movie or something, and be like, huh, that's a weird scene. And like, that's the payoff from season two of Creature Commandos or something like that. I don't know, but I think that would be cool.
what if
There
we
are
I
got
could go for it.
a crossover like Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks between this and Peacemaker?
That's what I was thinking.
That
That's what
would
I
be
was
dope.
thinking.
Yeah.
I want to
We could
see
do it
that.
one part animated, one part live action, very
Yeah,
similar
because
to how
Yeah.
they
we've
did that.
already had Weasel and
yeah.
Right,
Peacemaker
yeah,
on the
we've all
team
right.
before.
Yeah,
They've
Yeah.
already been on Suicide
yeah.
Squad before.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we could get a crossover episode or a
I
couple,
mean,
maybe a couple episodes,
yeah.
like three of them between Peacemaker and Creature Commandos. I think that would be interesting and kind of
Yeah.
cool.
I
I
feel like he's
mean,
sorry.
we saw the new prisoners too. We saw all the new prisoners,
Hmm.
and we
Yeah.
saw the cameos. The
Well,
cameos that had crossovers, like they had Judo Master in the cameo.
hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a little contrarian just a little bit. I we all know that James Gunn is brilliant with ensembles, but there's a lot of like solo players in the DC space. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you want to impress me with James Gunn, impress me, do Flash. Impress me with that. Do Aquaman. Let me see what you gonna do with Lobo. Like when it's a lot of people, he shines. But
Mm-hmm.
this didn't do a whole lot for me to make me any more excited about Superman because that's more going to be like a solo kind of gig, maybe. But James Gunn may just make it a collabo thing again because that's his space of comfort.
But
But
it is
then
a collabo thing.
It is a
Okay.
collabo thing.
and then
Yeah.
also with the animation just in general, I mean we've seen this before. I mean Archer is the first to really knock this ensemble odd group people together, knock it out the park. I mean Archer cleaned the plate.
Yeah.
And then you got Harley Quinn that came up and was like, okay, let's breathe some fresh air into it. And then we brought back Kite Man that's kind of doing it. So it's like it's starting to I'm hearing the same tones over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, do I have to see a second season of this again? No, because there's already a lot of that already out there in the space.
Mm.
Okay. Okay. I I get it. I dig it.
You want to see a
Wow.
Nightwing show movie, don't you? A Nightwing show.
I mean, I would love a Nightwing show. That would be my number one. But I'm kind of along the lines of Centel that we don't I don't want more of the same. I think that I loved that they used Cersei. Cersei is a character, like she's a lot of time in Wonder Woman, like a villain. And so I really enjoyed seeing someone new, and I don't think we got enough of her to really to flesh out her backstory. I like that she has been introduced now, but there are so many other characters that could be as well, like, a character that that they kind of do in movies, and that's John Constantine. But there's also like Zatanna, like we never really see. Zatanna's always like the throwaway character that's just to move the story along. Or like there's so many other, like Dr. Fate, like everybody
It's
that
all
we
the
saw
magical,
in
the
Black
magic people.
Adam. You know what I mean? Like that whole team, like Hawkman and Hawkgirl, like Hawkwoman, whatever. There's just so many things, so many characters within the DC world that stop making the same stuff.
Mm.
I mean, that's just me.
Yeah, I was also thinking Zatanna too. Like I would love to just have a show just her.
Yeah. Yes,
Cersei as a
Like-
villain,
like-
as a big bad, is not a bad idea. Because she's
Who?
super. Cersei as a big bad is not a bad idea.
Nope.
yeah. I guess
Great idea.
Am I okay? I'm gonna say something that may be a little controversial as well. I think I'm not as impressed with James Gunn as a lot of people are, simply because he takes obscure characters that don't have risk and then he breathes life into them, and it's a low risk kind of thing. Because there's no expectations. There's no expectations for Creature Commandos. There's no expectations for Suicide Squad. There's no expectations for Peacemaker. There's no expectations for Guardians of the Galaxy. Like when he takes up an idea or a concept where there's going to be an expectation, like there is going to be an expectation for Superman, and that to me is going to determine. I'm like, okay, are you really this nice? Because
Are you really him?
Yeah, are you really
you
him?
Himothy?
Because
Are
right
you
now you're
Himothy?
playing. It's like that dude at the rec center that's busting everybody up. He's nasty at the rec
In
center.
the league.
But let me see you get in the league when you got a real property with these savages out here in these internet streets that are looking at you like, don't mess this up. And I haven't seen James Gunn do that yet. So
We're gonna see in Superman. It's all we're gonna see in Superman.
We're gonna see.
So is he actually directing Superman?
yeah.
Yes.
He wrote
Yes.
Yeah, wrote
Yeah.
it.
He
directed
wrote
I
it.
know he wrote it. I know he wrote
Bryan
it.
Singer
And it's-
did.
Yeah. It's the most anticipated film of this year.
Ugh, Jesus.
So he's
Yeah.
He
Okay.
better nail it.
He
But
better.
Man in
but-
underwear
but-
better come
I'm saying,
through.
But
Is he-
that
is
is
he
also
him?
why. But that's why he's also got a somewhat a pseudo ensemble cast working
Yeah.
it too.
It's your safety net. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, man. Like you are good at this thing, but there's some people that need a lot of solo time with these characters.
yeah,
You can't
we'll
lean on another character to bail you out.
yeah.
We'll
so
see.
crypto. So
We'll see. I mean, he's got a couple strong actors in there. I mean, of course, he uses a standby. His buddy Nathan Fillion. He's got Nicholas Hoult is an excellent actor. So and
hot girl.
David Corn Sweat seems to be very capable. He kind of looks the part. We just have to see
His
will
brother's
he embody the part.
yeah, his brother's gonna play as what's the character? What's the villain in Wonder Woman 2? The
Cheetah?
Oh no, the guy,
Gold?
the rich guy.
Max Gold? Max.
Yeah, Max.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Those Wonder Woman movie. Well, the second
Yeah,
one.
that's what she said.
The second
yeah,
one was
Wonder
very
Woman.
forgettable.
yeah.
It was very forgettable.
yeah.
We don't. You talking about
He-
Wonder Woman
he also
84,
has
85,
Alex-
Yeah,
whatever?
84,
What she's talking
yeah.
about,
We
yeah,
don't talk
the
about that.
Pedro Pascal's character in that movie.
Yeah,
That's who
Bruno.
his.
Bruno.
Was
Yeah.
it for Max?
No, he was
Bruno.
Max.
We
Max
don't
Gold.
talk about that.
Yeah, yeah. We don't need to. We don't need to. We
Yeah.
need to end on a good note.
Yeah, his brother was
I think, to Centel, what she said about, like he breathes new life into
Said Bruno. That's funny.
he breathes new life into characters with no risk, but the risk he's banking on the name of what he has done in other properties. So people aren't even showing up for the characters. They're showing up for James Gunn. So they're showing up for what they know he has done in the past and what they expect him to do with these like creature commando, but with Superman, now you have new people showing up that are just showing up for Superman. So those same people, they're coming for James Gunn. And then you got all these other people that maybe they like James Gunn, but they're really showing up because they're stands like Randy.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus,
Those are the people.
Just own it, Randy. I don't know why you
Those
pretend.
are the people that you got. He got to impress. Those are the people sitting on the sideline, like.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, and that's a different kind of expectation.
That's a different. That's a different energy.
Animal. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, in Superman, we gonna see.
And y'all have no idea how much of a stand Randy is about Superman.
Well, the way Randy is about Superman is the way I am about Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I got the very first Wonder Woman. I didn't want to see it. I was so angry and I was so undone about like my idea of the casting of Wonder Woman. And I got invited to this screening at YouTube, and it was it was like a very small group of people. And I went in literally, I'm not even kidding you. You can ask our other friend who went with me. I went in like this. Like they invited me and not the main person that I don't even know if I've been somewhere and was like freaking out about Wonder Woman. They didn't invite Jabby. No, they invited me. And I was like, Jabby, you coming? And he was, what? You got invited? Because I'm that Wonder Woman stan. And I went in there in the theater.
Waiting to hate
screening.
It. When it viciously hated.
Like
how I feel about Star Wars movies.
Like this. I went in, arms crossed.
I get it.
Legs crossed. Anger on my face, like, impress me. You know what I mean? So I understand those people, and she did.
So
first
Patty Jenkins like it. How you like that, Courtney?
And I was like, my ma'am, I am changed. I have been reborn, and I thank you.
And then you put it all back, and then you put all that stank face back on for Wonder Woman 84. You like
Wonder Woman 84. Bruno. I listen, and I want to apologize to my friends' kids because it came out on Christmas Day. It was at the pandemic.
It's free.
And it came out. It was free, and I made the kids not watch what they wanted to watch because I needed to watch Wonder Woman 84. And my friend was like, "No, we're gonna do this for Courtney." Those kids were mad. And I was like, I don't care.
And they should never let you forget it.
And I was like, I'm so ready.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to take care of you when you get
like,
older, and they're going to remember that.
Ironically,
like Auntie Courtney made us watch this in Christmas of 2020. They're going to remember that.
They're like, it was the worst movie of the century.
I'm never allowed to pick
you better make it up to them.
That was their 9/11.
I'm never allowed to pick the movie.
Oh God.
Do you remember where you were?
What do we do with Auntie Courtney? Do we put her in a nursing home or do we bring her to the house? You better do something nice, Courtney. You better do something nice.
Going to the home.
But the difference between you and Randy, Courtney, no matter what they throw up there in Superman, Randy's gonna love it.
Man, I like Superman.
And Randy will argue us to the death that was the greatest thing that's been on screen.
He's like, it's Superman. He can't do no wrong.
I guess for me, like, I kind of had something like that not on the flip. I was excited for The Dark Knight, and I wanted to see it so bad, and I went with a group, and I told the people, please don't talk throughout the movie. Please don't talk throughout the movie because I have ADHD, and I'm gonna like hear the people talking while watching this movie. And I wanted it to be my favorite movie. It did not end up being my favorite movie, but I think I enjoyed it, but I did miss things because of the audience that came in talking. But
you said The Dark Knight?
Yeah, I wanted it to be my favorite movie. And like I had all this hype and expectations, and I was actually somewhat disappointed. It wasn't bad or anything. It was just like it didn't reach the pinnacle that I had in my head. And then people talking on top of that distracted me from key moments that happened that I somehow missed because I'm like, hey, shut the hell up. I'm trying to focus on this movie. So like, while that experience is different from the Wonder Woman 84 thing, I think that's kind of mentally in my head be like, okay, I want this to be my favorite movie. I have to just kind of go in cold and see how it does as a film by itself as well. Like, even if it's a film that I think like I know Marvel likes to reference everything, and for me, some of those films don't stand really well by themselves. But I think a movie like to be as powerful and everything needs to stand by itself, and I just need to see it without any expectations. So while I am looking forward to Superman, I'm going to watch it and see how it goes. Can Crypto save Superman out of the hard spot from the Superman stands, or will he fall to the ground with kryptonite?
Well, I understand why you didn't like the Dark Knight. No, I like the Dark Knight, but
I didn't dislike.
if you take out all of Heath Ledger's scenes, that movie is terrible.
The slander will not stand.
What?
We will not
That's-
have any
that's-
slander.
That's all right. That's all
Have
right.
you lost your mind?
That's all right.
That's all right.
That's all right. That's right. I said it, and I stand by it.
I agree
We
with
will
you.
not have
toes
Dark
down.
Knight
Mouth on
slander
Beyonce's
on
internet to say that
10 toes
Beyonce's
down.
internet. We will
That's
not
right.
have
On
that.
Beyonce's
We will get on
internet.
We will
Jay-Z's
not
internet and
have
say
that on
it.
Beyonce's internet.
That's right. I said it, and I hope it
I
burns in
agree.
hell.
I agree.
No, no.
Never.
Let me clarify.
That's all right. Y'all say what you want. Go back and watch the movie and fast forward through all of Heath Ledger's
Man.
parts.
Don't do that.
So
bro.
I didn't
Don't-
hate. Actually, ironically,
Don't die on that hill. Not that one.
I didn't hate the
Die on it.
No.
Dog, I'll resuscitate you.
No, we not. You should never be resuscitated.
No.
You just burned that one.
Yeah.
Co-sign that.
sad-
Don't,
the-
don't,
the
don't
sad-
get
pressure
caught.
go up, dog.
And the
I was
sad-
trying to clutch
listen,
my pearls.
listen,
I mean,
listen.
I don't have a
I like the
voice.
movie.
Stop saying
I
mean
like
things.
the movie. I like the movie, but
You said trash associated with Dark Knight.
Yeah.
That should never be said on Beyonce's internet. Never.
you know that the heart of that movie, what makes that movie good, is all of Heath Ledger's scene.
What
If
makes
you
it
take-
great?
If you take,
what makes
if
it?
you
But it's
ta-
a good movie.
I
It's
mean,
a good movie.
They're like,
if you take out all the Heath Ledger scene and you're left with Christian Bale over growling the whole damn movie, boy, stop. You know,
Boy.
You got Aquaman.
stop.
so
Ooh,
You got Aquaman.
I didn't even say that.
See,
I didn't say
we'll
that.
fight on. We will fight on Beyonce's
I didn't say that.
internet.
Look, yeah.
May y'all never have Wi-Fi ever again. May your
True.
so,
True.
so like I guess
True.
I didn't hate the Dark Knight, but I actually, ironically, I didn't love Heath Ledger as much as
These
everyone else.
words, these
Like,
words.
I didn't.
No.
Hate is being thrown
I
around.
didn't. I didn't. I didn't love him like everyone else, and I compared him to Mark
Man.
Hamill. But
Okay, I didn't say that because I thought
May
he
you
was
never be
absolutely
connected to this internet thing ever again.
Okay.
All right, and on
Your
that
cable
wonderful
provider shuts down.
and on that wonderful internet note, on Beyonce's internet, let's re-rate this show. I'm gonna stick with my full meal for Creature Commandos. I thought it was solid. I would like to see something different, like, you know, and some of the comments that you made, Centel and Courtney. Now, the more that I think about it, is like, yeah, I don't know if it's no risk, but I would like to see something different. Let's push the envelope. You know what I'm saying? If they wrote you a blank check or let you do what you're gonna do in your new universe, sir, let's do something. So, but I'm gonna stick with my full meal for right now. Let's go to Catherine. How would you rate this, ma'am?
I'm sticking with the full mill. I like the characters. I really want more, go more into the monster element. They did reference like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein and like some of the books and different Easter eggs, but they could have gone full force. Add an extra episode. Please don't put more money in the animation. Like, don't be afraid of animation. F you, Zaslav, and cutting all the animation stuff. F you, put more money into it. Animation is an art form, not a genre.
Come on now, you heard Catherine.
Get him,
Listen,
Captain. Get him, Captain.
Listen, that's right.
Art form, not a genre. I like
Get
it.
him.
I think that's the quote of the day. That's the hip hop quotable of the day.
Chuck, how would you rewrite this?
I'm gonna rerate it a full meal. Captain, I agree with you. The animation could have been better, especially since Max, HBO, Warner Brothers, what this company was called itself, consolidated all the animation studios into a single studio.
Oh no.
Yes, yes. They consolidated them all into a single studio. So you expect really good animation coming out of it. I think it's a formula though. And I would love to see a second season. But I understand everybody's desire to see James Gunn do more than ensemble cast. We all want to see him do more than an ensemble cast. We'll see
Okay.
that with Superman. Let's hope it's not 1984 Superman.
Well, I did it till Santel said it. Now I'm gonna be at the Superman movie. Like, look, let's see what he gonna do all alone.
No,
All
it
right,
has an
it's-
ensemble cast though.
Yeah.
It does
All
have
right.
a light ensemble cast.
Speaking of that, Centel, how would you rewrite this?
First off, I need to get one of them little ribbons that says I stand with Catherine regarding that. Yo, sister, go ahead. I'll put you on that.
Yeah, animated, we unite. Yeah.
He's the animation professional here.
Yo, I'm not going to change my standing because I enjoyed it. I think James Gunn is head and shoulders above 90% of the directors out there. He's phenomenal, you know. But I do feel like he is a one-trick pony, and this was that trick again. But it's a hell of a trick. Like it's a damn good trick. But
Yeah.
you know, I just want to see more of his artistry.
Okay. Miss Courtney Scott Wright.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay. I do think that there was some really strong story and character development. And I did have a good time, you know. So I'm gonna stay. Like I don't think I can go up to binge-worthy. I do think it needed another episode. But I definitely think it's worthy. It's beyond worthy to watch.
Okay. And finally, Mr. Johnny Randolph. Randy, how do you rewrite this?
Since I lived in a world where somebody said The Dark Knight, you take out certain scenes, it was trash. Since I lived in that world, and James Gunn is being just an ensemble cast, you know, it's more like in this world, since I lived in this world, I gotta stick with my guns and say on Beyonce's internet, it's a full binge out, man. I gotta end on a strong note. I'm not gonna let y'all just come in here and do that to me.
Hey, Randy, since you love
Randy, you
ensemble
survived.
cast.
You survived, Randy.
Yeah, you made it through.
We all did.
Yeah. Since you love ensemble cast so much, you should watch the greatest film franchise with an ensemble cast.
And then you had to bring that up.
Every time he says
I didn't say no names. I just said you should watch it.
Yeah, wait a minute.
You should watch it.
Wait a minute. Didn't we have what was the bet?
Oh, the bet is about whatchamacallit, Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr.
Gotcha.
If he shows his face, he has to be Tony Stark. Or Iron Man.
Right. So if he does, I win, and Chuck has to watch like a bunch of Owen Wilson movies.
No, you don't win that case. You win the case if he's a brand new character and he shows his face. If he's a brand new character and shows his face as a brand new
he's
character.
Victor Von Doom?
As Victor Von Doom and not Tony Stark's
I said he was Tony Stark.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Randy's right. If he shows up as Tony Stark or Iron Man in the movie, then Randy wins.
Yeah,
no, I win.
No,
Randy he's gonna be a brand new character.
No, I don't think he's gonna be a brand new character.
I don't think he's gonna be a brand new character.
I thought he's gonna be Tony Stark. He's gonna be.
I said he has to be Tony Stark's. He has to come back as Tony Stark's. We'll discuss this offline.
Originally, you said he would be a new character, or his face would be mangled in some way that he wouldn't show up as exactly.
If he shows up as a new character, you lose. I think
if he shows up as a new character, yes, I lose. If he shows up as a new character, I lose.
Okay. Anyway, all right. So we rewrited this, and we have the same rating we had at the beginning. So we're back at a low 4. So it's basically it carries over as a full meal, and we BingeWorthy of the Geekish Network say that this episode maxes. What is this called again? Creature Commandos. I see. Even that
now
quick.
he's forgetting the name.
Because my head went to
Because
Suicide
he's
Squad because it's
sacrilege,
the
the
new
Dark Knight.
suicide.
I
It's
know.
it's not
I
sacrilege.
can't ever
Yeah,
have
you know
sympathy
what?
for you ever
And,
again.
and you know what?
And I
And you know
love
what?
you. I
And it's
do,
gonna
but
be
no.
okay. It's gonna be okay. Because here's what's gonna happen. At some point, y'all are gonna watch The Dark Knight, and you're gonna speed through all of Heath Ledger's part, and you'll be like,
See,
he has a point. And you can just text me. You ain't gotta tell nobody. We ain't gotta do it public. You can just text me and be like, you have a point.
I compare Heath Ledger
It's
to Mark Hamill.
it is a good
Hamill.
movie. It's a great movie. I really love it. But the strength of that movie comes from that one character. If you take all of his parts out, it's a
Why would
different
you
movie.
ever, though? The strength of a movie is a part of all of its some characters.
You're
You
absolutely
never
right.
would. And
You
each character, you cannot, Heath Ledger couldn't do a whole movie. You just take
He's
his
Michael
scenes out
Jordan.
and
Yeah.
then watch his scenes. I mean, yeah, you're like, yeah, those good scenes. I don't
He's
know what
Steph
happened,
Curry.
but why? I mean, that was great acting work, but I don't know what the story is. You can't do it.
That's
So
like saying you can take Jordan out the Bulls and be like, well, the Bulls aren't going to be good. No, well,
Duh.
I mean, your LeBron stands, that's what they argue. So
That's what they argue.
It's like the
They
Olympics.
said they didn't win it, founding.
yeah, so anyway, we say that this series, Creature Commandos, is binge worthy. And we want you to join us again next week. And before we go, and before I even get into that, I do want to make sure that we mention again the greatest technical producer in the land, Mr. Rodney Cajudo, behind the boards. Sometimes you hear his voice, sometimes you get to see his presence, and he's back there quiet tonight, again, as usual. We have a wonderful team of people, and Crystal Moon and everybody at Digital Click who put together all of our graphics and do all of our marketing needs for us. So if you ever have the need for that, definitely reach out to them. Again, thank you to my wonderful, wonderful co-hosts who I could not do this without. Mr. Centel, Miss Catherine, Miss Courtney Scott Wright, Mr. Johnny Randolph, and of course the OG, triple OG, Mr. Charles Babb himself. I am Rakai Steed, New from the Ville. Catch us again, same time, same bat channel next week when we cover Netflix's Castlevania Nocturne Season 2. Can't wait to see you then. Peace.
Wait, okay. I'm trying with my M's. I'm trying really